Good evening and welcome to Conway Christian High School. It's Jeff and Levi with Conway Sports. Conway Corp. This is great. We're across town from where we normally are.
Love it. Love it.
It's not a road game. It's very much a home game for folks in Conway. But a first tonight for us as we get a chance to broadcast Conway Christian and St. Joseph basketball as these two crosstown rivals play each other for the second time this year. They met back on January 10th. They split that night. The St. Joseph girls won the girls game, and the Conway Christian, that's backwards. Conway Christian girls won the girls game, and the St. Joseph boys won the boys game. We'll talk about the Bulldogs and the Eagles in just a little while, but first, it is the Lady Eagles and the Lady Bulldogs, and they're rivals, obviously, from being across town from one another. They're also rivals in the 2A Region 5 North, which is all new for us, and I hope that everyone will show us a little bit of grace as we navigate this new world that we're trying to figure out.
Yeah, we get to experience some of this with Conway High, obviously, of seeing familiar names come up throughout the years, but it's just a whole other level when you have these two small private schools. It's really all about these local families that have been, pouring their heart and souls into these small schools for many years. It's just such a neat experience.
And the national anthem prior to tonight's game. And Levi, as we were talking about before the anthem began there, it really is interesting that there are two communities, the St. Joseph families and the Conway Christian families, and for so often it's been a part of their basketball. Right now they're having a prayer. And a quick prayer prior to tonight's game. Our apologies for stepping over that. Got to learn all the new things that they do.
A lot of new things for us.
That's right. But we saw it prior to tonight's game when the junior high girls played against each other. The two teams, when they played about a month ago over at St. Joseph, it was the junior high boys that played that night. So a little different look to what we're used to seeing on the 7A level. We've done this again for 19 years at the 6A level in basketball now. And so we'll describe what we see as the night goes on. First, the starters for the Lady Bulldogs are being introduced. They are led by Kaylin Hill. She is their head basketball coach. And the leading scorer for this team is number 14, Savannah Mooney. She is averaging 15 points a game. Lily Hill, who just was introduced, number 32, is averaging 14 points a game. Brooklyn Kordsmeyer, Emily Brigler, and Elizabeth Chandler, the other starters for St. Joseph. For Conway Christian, the first starter to be introduced is Josie Williams, who as a freshman is averaging 20.4 points a game. There's Kara Keithley, Emily Dather, a junior forward. There's Brady Calloway, another junior guard. She's averaging 6 points a game. Emily Dather averaging 12 points a game, we mentioned a moment ago. And then in the middle is McKenna Vaught. She is a senior post player, averaging almost 9 points a game and almost 7 rebounds a game for this team that's coached by Trey Lynch. Coach Lynch actually coaches all the basketball teams here. He coached the junior high game that just completed and now coaching in this game, and he'll coach in the next game coming up in just a few minutes, which is something that you still see some. It's a little less common than it used to be.
Right.
But there are a few occasions where you still see one coach who has the reins to all the programs at a school.
Yeah, you saw that for years at Guy Perkins with John Hutchcraft. And I think his predecessor now is coaching both teams as well, or at least was maybe her first year there.
So we are underway tonight from Conway Christian. Glad that you were with us. A Conway Corp Sports special production. We're thrilled to be here to bring you the action of these two crosstown schools. St. Joseph been around for a very long time, back to the 1800s. And St. Joseph as a church and as a school. Conway Christian been around a little less time than that, but both are major components of our community, and we are thrilled at Conway Corp to get to bring you to tonight's game. Josie Williams is number 21. She is the best player for the Lady Eagles. Plays in some very competitive AAU Summer League ball with some players that you would recognize from the Conway teams, that Chloe Clardy and Jaden Thomas. The first 3 points of the night goes to the Lady Eagles on the three-pointer off the glass. And the Lady Bulldogs in transition. That's Emily Brigler. Three-pointer from the wing, bottom of the net. That's good by Savannah Mooney. The left-hander averaging 15 points a game. She's the leading scorer and ties it at 3. Pass is stolen away by Mooney. By herself down the lane. Layup a little too strong. Rebound will come back to her. Her sister's on this team. She'll come off the bench in a little while, Maggie. And a whistle and a foul.
Coming into tonight, both of these teams very competitive in their conference. Conway Christian, an 8-3 conference record. St. Joe not far behind at 6-6. Of course, moving into district. There's 2 more games. You got tonight and then another game on Friday, and then they move into district play, which all the teams from the conference go to district. There's no cap going in, but of course the seeding plays out on where you're seeded in the district tournament.
McKenna Vaught with the basket. Makes it 5-3 in favor of the Lady Eagles. Whistle and a foul called on number 3, Brady Calloway. Each team whistled for 1 personal foul so far. Lily Hill, number 32, in the middle. Got her hands on the rebound. She is the daughter of the head coach, Kaylin Hill. Coming back the other way for Conway Christian on the baseline. Shot is no good. Out of bounds, and it will be Lady Bulldog basketball.
The St. Joe's team a little undersized. You can see them fall in love with the 3-ball a little bit. That's kind of their style.
They've got 4 players averaging in double figures. Again, led by Savannah Mooney with 15. Lily Hill averages 14. Emily Brigler 11, and Brooklyn Kordsmeyer averaging 10. Three-pointer back of the rim.
I got to talk to Emily Brigler earlier, actually just about a month ago. She's our 501 basketball team honoree for St. Joe's Lady Bulldogs. And when I talked to her a month ago, they only had 6 players. Only 1 player on the bench. Luckily, they've added a whole other player to their bench since then.
The depth.
It's I'm kind of joking a little bit, but just having 1 more player when you only had 6 can make a big difference in especially tight rivalry game like this.
We talked briefly about the way that the playoff structure happens, and it is a little bit different than what we are accustomed to. You play the regular season to get into that place in the district and then play your way to the state tournament. And I think what this does for these teams that are the smaller classifications, first of all, they play 30 regular season games. They're playing basketball back early in November, if not late October. And so they have some lengthy seasons. So the chemistry that you see from teams at this point is second to none. They know where each other are going to be at every point.
Well, and you just get so familiar with not only your teammates, but the competition as well.
Baseline shot just off to the side by Elizabeth Chandler. Hustling for the rebound, that's Mooney. Top of the key, Hill. Little Euro step, and the basket's good. Josie Williams, in and out, no good. We had a chance prior to the game to, well, judge a chili contest. So thank you to Coach Justin Kramer, the athletic director here at Conway Christian, for the invitation to do that, but also a chance to talk to Josie's mom, and she was telling us about her relationship with the Thomases, Mario and Michaela. Is it Michaela? Went right. Yeah.
Yes.
Michaela. And their family and the history of Summer League basketball there and her involvement with it as a freshman, averaging over 20 a game.
Yeah, you got to imagine the future is bright for Conway Christian Lady Eagle basketball.
And they are coached by Trey Lynch. He will coach the boys' game that's coming up. Off the glass, no good by Hill. Out of bounds in front of the cheerleaders for the Conway Christian Eagles. And it's going to stay on this end for St. Joseph. Mooney, deep three. Going to go back the other way. Foul will be called on number 30, Elizabeth Chandler. That'll be her first. Third on the team.
I love how you described it as we started the game. You've got these two little smaller communities, these private schools, but really they're kind of also one community in a way. The only two private schools in the city. They share that common bond.
Williams in the paint. Basket's good. 9-7. The visiting Lady Bulldogs have the lead after the made basket. Pressure by the Lady Eagles. Three-pointer on the wing. That was Vaught. Good look at it, just couldn't get it to fall. And if you've been around Conway athletics for a while, there are so many names that you recognize. I know when I very first moved to Conway as an adult, very young adult, but was starting to do some broadcasting of really just sitting back at a radio station and punching buttons. But I would hear so many of these names from 30 years ago, and now it's the children of so many of those players. The Brigglers, there's a Briggler on both the boys and the girls team. I remember there being a pair of brothers, the twin Brigglers, that played for St. Joe's that many years ago. There's a Hegel that we'll talk about later, and a Kordsmeyer, and the list goes on, and so many familiar faces that I've seen in the stands from Conway Christian folks. The Sims family, the Gibson family, the Pratt family. It's great to see.
That's the fun thing about as big as Conway has gotten and continues to get, you still have that small town vibe with the vibrance of these two private schools.
Moix with the basket. Marley Moix off the bench. Three-pointer from the wing. Front of the rim, no good. Fighting for the rebound. Held ball. It is going to stay on this end.
We also get a much different vantage point than we do at old Buzz Bowling Arena. We're right in the action with the fans, kind of like how it is on football road games for us. We get to be amongst the people.
I did talk to a buddy of mine who told me that we had their seat.
I knew that was going to happen. Yeah, I was.
He said, "Yeah, that's where I normally sit."
I was a little concerned about that, but
three-pointer, good. Drained it from the baseline. That is Brooklyn Kordsmeyer. She is back recently from an injury. Kept her out for 5 weeks with a banged-up shoulder. I think that's what you were talking about when they just had 6 at a time. Added her back to the mix.
Yeah, so you see St. Joseph at 6-6 in conference, 15-10 overall. You kind of wonder how those numbers might look a little bit different if they had been at full strength the whole season. None of that really matters too much as we kind of start a whole new season for them next week with district play.
2 shots upcoming. They will get Marley Moix for the foul. That is the 4th team foul. First free throw up and good by McKenna Vaught. McKenna averaging 9 points a game, 7 rebounds a game. Second free throw is perfect. 13-11, the visiting Lady Bulldogs have the advantage. Skip pass. Thought about the three, pulled it down. That's Mooney. Chandler in the corner. Bottom of the net, three-pointer is good by Brooklyn Kordsmeyer.
Some solid fundamental basketball right there. Lots of passing, trying to find the open shooter.
Lady Bulldogs 6-6, as you mentioned in conference, and Lady Eagles 8-3. They're all chasing Quitman. That Quitman team, 18-2 overall and 11-0 in conference play. Emily Dather knocks down the three, and it's a 2-point game.
Well, that's been the story for the last 4 or 5 years. Quitman Lady Bulldog basketball has just found its stride with Coach Tim Hooten over there.
A couple of tries at it, no good. Coming back the other way. That's Williams. Stutter step all the way. Josie Williams. We are tied at 16. You know, we talk often about that 20-point plateau that we see if the Lady Cats or whoever they're playing can get to. It's not something that's often attained, but you got two teams here going to get real close to it. Final few seconds, there is a whistle and a foul. Look at Datherforth, it's her first. You see Maggie Mooney check in place of Elizabeth Chandler. Give Elizabeth a break here for the last few seconds before we end the quarter. Down to 2, down to 1. Bottom of the net. Brooklyn Kordsmeyer hits another three-pointer. And as we go to the second quarter, the Lady Bulldogs have a 3-point lead. St. Joseph 19, Conway Christian 16. We'll take a break here and come back in 30 seconds on Conway Court.
We don't schedule the appointments, but we connect them. We don't read the x-rays, but we stream them. We don't handle the procedures, but we power them. Here's to running the things that make business run smoothly. Conway Corp, always on.
Conway Corp, thankful to be here tonight. I'm Jeff Matthews, Levi Gilbert here with me, and we are at Conway Christian High School. First time that I've been in here, admittedly, but it's not your first time to be in here. You were telling me that this is where 501 shoots the photos for the 501 team every year.
We've been shooting both the football team and the basketball team here on this campus. It's just an easy central location for a lot of the teams coming in. It's right off the interstate. It just really works well. And Coach Lynch and Coach Kramer, they've been so great to the magazine.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know, they're still relatively new here at Conway Christian, but been very helpful to us and to this broadcast tonight as well.
Yeah, very helpful. I'm telling you, we reached out a couple of weeks ago when we realized that doing this game was a possibility, and they've been great, and that's an extension of what we deal with across town for 2 decades. Conway High teachers and coaches and administration have been amazing to us, and we have been very, very lucky, and that has been the same with the administration and the coaching staffs of both Conway Christian and St. Joseph. 19-18, 1-point lead for the Lady Bulldogs as we are just underway in the second quarter. Mooney's three-pointer will not go. Offensive rebound, going to dribble out of there with it, but a foul instead will be called on Josie Williams.
Well, as you can see from the score, very evenly matched affair in the first quarter. Both teams shooting 40% from the three-point line. So we expect to see more of that as we go. And it's Kordsmeyer for the Lady Bulldogs leading the way with 11 points.
3 3-pointers that she made. including a deep one there at the end of the quarter. Mooney, back of the rim, no good. Rebound, loose. Lady Bulldogs going to pull it in. Whistle and a foul. They'll get McKenna Vaught for it. That's her second.
We've been talking about the Lady Bulldogs and their 7 players, but Conway Christian really just 7 players on their bench as well.
Yep.
Makes that that score even more impressive after one quarter. Could you imagine the conditioning when you don't have a deep bench like that?
Well, and again, this is deep into the season. This is game 26 for St. Joseph and game 23 for Conway Christian. As we mentioned, they'll play a few more before they get to district. Both free throws are good. It's a 3-point lead for St. Joseph. 21-18. That's Josie Williams. She and Dather play catch. Skip pass. Good ball movement. Leads to an open look at 3. Can't get it to fall. And the rebound to Savannah Mooney.
Tell you what's most impressive, Jeff, is on both sides is just the sound, fundamental basketball that we're seeing.
3-pointer by Brigler. Back of the rim, no good. Foul. That'll be the 8th team foul on Conway Christian. And that one will be on McKenna Vaught. That's going to be her 3rd. Yeah, Levi, that's a great point. Very, very sound fundamentals. You see it in there. The passing, very crisp. Getting to an open spot. They all move well without the basketball. All 4 of the players on the court that don't have the ball trying to find a space to get open. That's Emily Brigler, 67% free throw shooter. Misses them both here.
You mentioned all those Briglers throughout the year. She's the youngest of 4 daughters.
Okay. Williams, back of the rim, no good. That's Dather. 15-footer. That one will go for Josie Williams.
Man, freshman girls dominating this city,
Yes.
I'm telling you.
Good look inside. That's Hill. Lily Hill, averaging 14 and 7, 14.7 rebounds, and she leads the team in assists and blocks. She is a junior, and she's the daughter of the head coach, Kaylin Hill.
Yeah, well, that explains why that basketball IQ is so high, and the skill set as well.
Williams cannot get it to fall. Offensive rebound, and the putback no good by Moix. Conway Christian another try at it. And the Lady Bulldogs coming back the other way. 5 minutes to play, first half. It is a crosstown rivalry game tonight for you on Conway Corp. Glad that you are with us. We're not live tonight, so as you're watching this, if you put any comments in the YouTube chat or anywhere else, we'll see them later. So we may see them as you are hearing this, but we will not be able to respond to them. But certainly feel free to comment along.
It is a bit of an odd feeling. I've gotten used to doing these games live.
Me too.
This
Me
one's
too.
a little bit different.
See Coach Kaylin Hill there talking to her senior leader, Emily Brigler. Conway Christian, good hands on defense. Loose ball, jump ball. And it is going to belong to Conway Christian.
A lot of blow the whistles in the crowd tonight.
A lot of blow the whistles.
Heard that several times.
There have been 12 personal fouls called in the first quarter and a half. 2/3 of them on the Lady Eagles. There's one of the Lady Bulldogs.
So what you're trying to say is they have been blowing the whistle.
Well, They've blown it at least 13 times. Yes. Three-pointer. No good. On the offensive glass, the Lady Eagles. Williams thought about the three. Skip pass, top of the key. Williams, little runner. Won't go. Checking into the game a few moments ago was Mary Kate Kane. She wears 00 for the Lady Eagles, but she is probably easier to spot because of the left brace. So the brace on her left leg, she just recently returned from a tear of her ACL. And she is back to playing competitive basketball right after that injury. That's a level of toughness that I don't possess.
No. And they couldn't have gotten her back at a better time as you're closing down the regular season, getting ready for the postseason play.
Kane with the steal. Back to her. St. Joseph falls back into that zone. 3 at the top, 2 at the bottom. Williams for 3 on the wing. In and out, no good. The offensive rebound gets her another try at it. Whistle and a foul. They'll get Lily Hill for it. That is her first. That's the 6th team foul. So for the rest of the way here, 2:43 to go in the first half. There will be free throws on both ends of the court, starting right here.
Other thing you notice just watching this game, it's been very physical.
Very physical.
Very physical first half, and with these short benches, and we've already seen the scoring has dropped significantly here in the second quarter. Everybody was a little amped up in that first quarter. Things starting to settle down a little bit.
Good look at the freshman, Josie Williams. Earns the second. And we have a tie ball game. Conway Christian and St. Joseph tonight, a special Conway Corp Sports production. Having a chance to do a few more things like this. We did the 9th grade blue-white football game back in the fall, and a chance to do this game, and hopefully throughout the spring we'll have a chance to do a few more special broadcasts of some big games that are coming up before the end of the school year. Tied at 23, 2.5 to play in the first half. It was 19-16 at the end of the first quarter. And Levi, you said it, the scoring has slowed down tremendously. Just 23-23 now.
We can only sustain that pace for so long when you're only going 7 deep, and that's it.
Right, well, and not only from a fatigue standpoint, but also very much from you've got to start playing a different brand of basketball because you cannot get any deeper into foul trouble. Both teams with a starter right now playing with 3. Whistle and a foul. That is going to be called on Marley Moix. That is her second.
Yeah,
the 9th team foul.
If you've ever wondered, how do you get those games where you have 4 or 3 people playing left in the game? It's situations like this.
That's exactly right. Well, she's got a great-looking shot. Savannah Mooney, that left-handed shot, perfect form. Falls through, 2-point lead for St. Joseph. Both of these teams have got some very, very talented players. Again, you talked about it, the numbers aren't deep, but the talent is deep. Very rich on both sides, and they start them young, as they do pretty much everywhere anymore. They start playing together as elementary school-age kids and middle school and junior high and beyond, and definitely develop some talent.
Well, and that's one of the things. Obviously, doing prep for this game, we don't see these players every week like we do with Conway High. But I was trying to think. Well, who are my resources for some St. Joseph knowledge or some Conway Christian knowledge? And I thought I'll go to another Conway institution, Axiom. There's lots of all these names we've been talking about.
Right.
Lots of them work there.
Okay.
So I talked with another Kordsmeyer, Ricky Kordsmeyer, today. And one of the things he mentioned, just talking about both of these Bulldogs teams, is just it's a little different because of the private school nature. You do grow up playing together.
Yeah.
You know, with Conway, you've got all these elementary schools and then the different junior highs feeding into the high school. You might not necessarily play together for that length of time growing up, but when you're in these private schools, you're playing with these 5-6 teammates that you have for years.
Good look there. Mary Kate Kane shooting 1-1 and gets the rebound. Can't get it to follow. Yeah, there's definitely a familiarity with each other, and because of the nature of these schools and their proximity to each other and just growing up in a town like this, there's a familiarity with each other too.
Right. Yeah, not just on the court, but
Yeah.
off the court as well. And then you factor in the way the postseason play works for these lower classifications. You know, in a week, they're going to be going into district play, and they're probably going to see each other again there.
That's right.
Then the top 4 teams from that move on to regionals. And guess what? Conway Christian and St. Joe, they could both be in regionals seeing each other again.
Now, was it 10 years ago next month that they played one another for the state championship?
Yeah, so 2010,
Yeah.
the one and only championship for Conway Christian, they beat St. Joseph in that game. And speaking of Conway connections, Conway Lady Cat coach Ashley Hutchcraft was the Conway Christian coach that night and got her first state championship win as a coach. Let me clarify, as a coach.
Kara Keithley into the game. Yep, won championships as a player, has won another as a coach since coming to Conway High. Good defense, stolen away by Dather. Josie Williams off the glass, no good. Good hands. All kinds of trouble defensively. We're still tied at 25. Final 25 seconds. Held ball, going to stay on this end.
The sights and sounds.
Savannah Mooney. That's Kordsmeyer. She was hot during the first quarter, hit 3 3-pointers. Hill goes up. No call. Coming back the other way. Good look up court. Williams. St. Joseph finds themselves down by 2. Conway Christian has fought all the way back. What a great defensive effort by Conway Christian here in the second quarter. Kept fighting, kept pecking away, tied it a few times, and going to halftime, they take a 27-25 lead. It's a good one tonight. Conway Christian and St. Joseph playing tonight at Conway Christian High School. We'll take a break here at halftime. When we come back, it's the third quarter. You're watching a special production of Conway Corp Sports, Conway Christian and St. Joseph on Conway Corp. 27-25 is our halftime score. Jeff and Levi with you tonight. A special presentation of Conway Corp Sports. And it's St. Joseph making the trip across town to Conway Christian. The replay of a game played about a month ago. They played on January the 10th. In that game, Conway Christian's girls won 60-49. It's a close one. In fact, it's only been in favor of Conway Christian the last few seconds as they scored there at the end to take that 27-25 lead. Some of the halftime numbers, we've got a couple of players in double figures for both teams.
Yeah, 2 players with 11 points each. On the St. Joseph side, it's Kordsmeyer with 11. And then for Conway Christian, the freshman, Williams, with 11 points as well. And just such a energetic first quarter. It was 19-16 Lady Bulldogs after the first quarter. Then things slowed way down. Lady Bulldogs only put up 6 points in that second quarter, and Conway Christian came on hard and fast at the end of the second quarter to take that lead. Shooting has been a little spotty in the first half, but free throws have really helped both teams. Both teams shooting over 70% from the free throw line. And the way we saw all those fouls in the first half, you might see a lot more of that in the second half as well.
Good look inside, and the basket is good for McKenna Vaught. She has 8 points on the night. 4-point lead for Conway Christian. Emily Brigler brings it up. That's Mooney. In and out, no good. Offensive glass cleaned up, and the basket by Lily Hill. She's got 9.
Stats had the stat of the night so far. Talked about no timeouts called in the first half at all.
With foul trouble and with short benches, and playing their 25th game of the year. Josie Williams, she's got a baker's dozen, 13 points. Third quarter starting like the first quarter did. Pretty fast and furious here. Kordsmeyer. That's Brigler. Emily with the right-hand dribble. Is she the youngest or oldest of 4?
The youngest.
Youngest of 4.
Youngest of 4 girls.
Three-pointer. Good. Brooklyn Kordsmeyer. She's got 14 and 4 3-pointers tonight.
I mentioned in the first half, and I'll say it again here, I've got to speak with some of these players through some of my work with 501. Is we have a player from each team, both boys and girls, represented on our 501 team. And so I got to speak with Emily Brigler last month and Emily Dather for Conway Christian as well. And Brigler really shared some unique perspective on the rivalry, and we'll talk more about that as the second half goes on.
1-point game in this rivalry game right now. Home team has the lead. That's Conway Christian. Mooney. Got it. Savannah Mooney. She's got 8 points. A couple of 3-pointers on the night.
You mentioned it in the first half. It's got a unique, just pure shot. We don't get to see those lefties as much.
I've talked to quite a few coaches over the years, and just you see kids that shoot, and so few of them have what I would consider a perfect form. Kids, all of them want to grow up shooting a 3-pointer, and so to shoot a 3-pointer until they're strong enough, they've got to shot put it. They've got to use both hands, and so many of them develop bad habits where they'll get their off thumb in. If they shoot right-handed, the left thumb, or they shoot left-handed, the right thumb. And you'll oftentimes see a shot that will look more like a knuckleball than anything else. And so few players on this level will shoot the basketball where it comes off their hand the right way and where it's got the backspin. And all of that leads to a shooter's roll. You hear that term a lot. Well, that only comes when you shoot the basketball a certain way because of the consistency of it. And that's what you see with so many of the players that you see on this court, the players that we see play for Conway, both boys and girls. And with the younger players, that's a good thing to watch for, is to how do you do that? How do you shoot the basketball where it comes off your hand so the chances are that it's going to be more pure and it's going to go in more often. 35-31, 4-point lead for St. Joseph. Boys game to follow. Stolen away. Lily Hill got in front of it.
In the midst of another lead swing here, as it's just been game of runs tonight.
Gonna go back the other way. That is the third on Lily Hill. There were so many fouls called in that first half, and as we've talked about a lot, with short benches, foul trouble is something you have to pay attention to. Good look there. Young head coach for Conway Christian, Trey Lynch. He handles all the basketball here. There's a lot to undertake. Junior high teams, the high school teams. Does a great job. That's Williams. Emily Brigler picks her up. Right side to Kane. Entry pass to Vaught. In the lane, off the glass. Can Vaught into double figures now? She has 10.
That was a strong move on the post.
Brigler on her way to the basket draws the foul. And it will be called on Josie Williams. That'll be her second. Mooney, back of the rim, no good. Lady Eagles in transition. Good dish and one. Williams with the pass. Kara Keithley finished it off. Her first two of the night, and she will go to the free throw line.
Well, what can't the freshman do? Williams driving on the left side, finds a nice little, just a perfect setup, bounce pass to the right, and strong finish.
Third personal foul called on Savannah Mooney. You've got multiple starters for both teams playing with 3 personal fouls. Entry pass off the glass, no good. That is Maggie Mooney. Steal, Brigler. Kordsmeyer, bottom of the net. She's got 17. 5 3-pointers from Brooklyn Kordsmeyer. Missed 5 weeks of the season with a shoulder injury. No signs of that at all. She has played a great game. 3-point lead for St. Joseph. Up and in. Kara Keithley in the right place at the right time and pulls the Lady Eagles within 1.
That was just how they planned it, right?
We approach the 2-minute mark of the third quarter. It has been a great one tonight. Whistle and a foul inside. Going to be Marley Moix. That is her third personal foul. Mooney into Elizabeth Chandler. Brigler. Good dish to Chandler. Rebound. Pulled out of there by McKenna Vaught. Whistle and a foul. They'll get Elizabeth Chandler for it, and that is going to be her 4th.
Wow. Smart play by Vaught, just feeling the pressure coming behind her and slows down, pulls up just enough to draw the contact.
38-37. Third quarter action from Conway Christian tonight. Kordsmeyer comes out of there with it following a bad pass inside. Chandler. Good look inside. Basket made by Maggie Mooney.
Mooney just got perfect position and perfect dish inside, able to finish smooth.
That's Josie Williams. Talented freshman. Pass knocked away. The steal by Kordsmeyer. 19th point of the night for Brooklyn Kordsmeyer. About to double her season average. 5-point lead. The Lady Bulldogs with another steal. Coaching staff telling them to slow it down, take one shot in these final 30 seconds. St. Joseph led by 3 at the end of the first quarter. And Conway Christian outscored St. Joseph 11-6 in the second quarter to take a halftime lead. Let's see if that plays out the same way in the fourth quarter. Conway Christian's got another run in them. Williams knocks it out of bounds. Clock stops with 3 seconds to go. Dather back in the game. Correction, 4 seconds to go. Three-pointer by Brigler. No good. We go to the fourth quarter. St. Joseph 42, Conway Christian 37. We'll take 30 seconds to come back for the fourth quarter next on Conway Corp.
You're watching Conway Corp Channel 5 and 585, Conway's source for local community programming. Here you'll find the Wampus Cats, Conway City Council, here and there featuring local events, burn and breathe that will get your heart rate up and down. Find new adventures on Away for a Day or grab your sketch pad and draw with Mr. Foy's easel. Plus, learn more about Conway Corp store. We're creating original programming with Conway in mind on Conway Corp Channel 5 and 585.
Fourth quarter coming up from Conway Christian. We've got a good game. It has been entertaining throughout. 42-37 with St. Joseph on top.
19 points from the senior Cordsmeyer for the Lady Bulldogs. She was electric in that third quarter, just defensively and then showing off on offense. Over for Conway Christians, the freshman still leading the way. Williams with 13 points. Vaught coming on strong in that third quarter as well. She's also in double figures with 10 points. Free throw shooting kind of non-factor in that third quarter. I thought we'd see more of it after the amount of fouls we saw in the first half, but it's really slowed down, luckily for both teams, because they've got several players in quite a bit of foul trouble as we head into the final set.
42-37. Again, the records for these two teams: St. Joseph 15-10, 6-6 in the conference. Conway Christian 12-10 overall, but 8-3, a great conference record, and in third place right now in the conference. Brigler has it blocked, out of bounds. Going to be Conway Christian basketball.
One of the things that stood out to me from talking with Emily Brigler last month about this rivalry, because I got to talk to her right before they played a month ago, and she talked about how, you know, the youngest of four, so she's grown up with this rivalry for, you know, several years, and how it used to have a little bit more of a toxic edge to it when these two teams would play, but that she's seen it more with her generation, that all these girls know each other. They know each other outside of the court and outside of these schools, and a lot of them are friends. And so some of the more heatedness of the rivalry may have lifted a little bit because of these friendships that have developed, but it's still been a physical game.
Oh, very physical. So a tough basket underneath by Lily Hill. McKenna Vaught whistled for the foul. That is her fourth. And the free throw made by Lily Hill. That'll put her at a double figures with that three-point play. And the lead is out to 45-37, an 8-point lead, biggest that we've seen in a while. Josie Williams cannot get the layup to fall.
This game has been playing out a lot like that junior high game before this. Conway Christian just falling into a hole late in the second half, and they're going to have to climb back. There's still plenty of time.
If you're looking for the scores for Conway Christian, I mentioned Josie Williams, who has the basketball now, averaging over 20 a game. Emily Dather is averaging 12 a game. McKenna Vaught averaging close to 9 underneath. So they got a little bit of outside-inside game. That's Dather.
She's been quiet tonight, just 3 points.
Good look at the three. Got it. Bottom of the net for Mary Kate Kane. Drained the three-pointer, cuts the lead to 5. Timeout on the court. We'll take it with the teams. 30 seconds, and we're back on Conway Court.
You don't wake up thinking about internet speed, electricity, reliability. Your mind isn't on advanced treatment facilities or customizable systems. You don't have to think about any of these things because we do. Conway Corp, always on.
Been a good one tonight. You're watching a special presentation of Conway Corp Sports tonight. Conway Christian and St. Joseph. We've done Conway Wampus Cat Sports for 19 seasons, and last year or so we've tried to do a few more sporting events around town. We did the Conway Blue-White football game back in the fall, the 9th grade game, and a chance to do this game tonight when the schedule really fell in our favor. Tonight is a off night in the 6A Central Conference, so Conway High School, no game tonight, and just worked out that the two private schools in Conway playing one another. We get a chance to broadcast this game. Savannah Mooney knocks down a 3. She's in double figures now, and the lead's back to 8. Williams has it knocked out of her hands. Staying on this end.
Gotta give a lot of credit to this Lady Bulldog team coming into not an easy environment for them to come into.
No, not at all.
Seems like every time Conway Christian has made a run, these Bulldogs have responded with a run of their own.
Kane for 3. Just hit one a moment ago. That one didn't fall. 8-point game with 5 minutes to play. The boys' game will follow. That's Mooney to Mooney. Maggie to Savannah. Loose ball stolen away by the Lady Eagles. That's Vaught. Good ball handling there by the post player. Dather in the corner. It's a legendary name around here at Conway Christian. Kane keeps the dribble. Williams, a little too strong.
Yeah, Dather's mother played basketball at South Dakota State. One of her older brothers played football at Harding.
Yeah. Mooney, front of the rim, no good. South Dakota State, really. It's the Jackrabbits, right?
Now that I don't know.
I'm almost certain that it is. Vaught, strong move to the basket, can't get it to fall. Final half of the fourth quarter.
You are correct. South Dakota State Jackrabbits.
That's what I do. Nicknames in the shapes of states. That's really the only skill set I have. Savannah Mooney, another three-pointer for the left-hander. That's an 11-point lead now for the visitors. Loose ball, Conway Christian keeps, but they're going to battle all the way. You know that they will. Dather for 3. Back of the rim, no good. Whistle. It'll be on Emily Brigler, I believe. It will be. That is her 3rd. And a timeout taken. We'll take it with them here. 11-point lead for St. Joseph. 30 seconds and we're back on Conway Corp.
Education is all about vision. It requires commitment, investment. So we pour ourselves into Conway students and teachers, schools, and scholarships. A brighter future? Now that's powerful. Conway Corp. Always on.
.11-point lead for the Lady Bulldogs. It was a month ago. We've talked about it a few times that the two teams played across town at St. Joseph. And that night, it was the visiting team winning that game by 11, 60-49, as the Lady Eagles got the win. That's the advantage the Lady Bulldogs have right now.
Yeah, and really just one blip on the radar for them tonight. That 6-point second quarter, but 19 points in the first, 17 points in the third. And they're just a point away from hitting double digits here in the fourth quarter. That offense has been steady throughout. They just had that one little off quarter in the second. Meanwhile, Conway Christian has only managed 3 points this quarter.
You know that fatigue has to become a part of the story.
depth is just not there for either one of these teams. This is really deep into their season. District, regional, states, just weeks away.
Well, and all the energy you expend and just the energy before the game, getting hyped up for this
That's right.
rivalry game, and then all this energy they've expended on the court, your legs start to go, you can't get your shot underneath you, and you start to see things like a 3-point quarter for Conway Christian.
That's right. Good job by the Lady Eagles to get a hand on the pass. It does stay in the hands of the Lady Bulldogs, though. Mooney to Kordsmeyer. Coach Kaylin Hill telling the Lady Bulldogs, take your time. There is no reason to be in any sort of hurry. Foul will be called on Mary Kate Kane. That's her first. And only the 4th team foul, so if you're thinking that Conway Christian is going to foul to get him to the free throw line to try to get the ball back, I'm going to have to give a couple more because they just have 4 called against them. Now they've had 5 called against them. 3rd on Josie Williams. Brady Calloway will check in for Mary Kate Kane. Again, Mary Kate recently returning to the lineup for Coach Trey Lynch from an ACL tear. That'll be the 6th team foul. So 1 more, and we'll have free throws coming. That is the 4th on Josie Williams. Williams with the steal. Easy off the glass. Lead cut to 9.
4 fouls and still getting her nose in there with that steal. Well, if they're going to mount a comeback, it's going to be led by that freshman. She's going to have to keep playing aggressive even with the 4 fouls.
She had 24 points when the 2 teams played back a few weeks ago. Timeout. We'll take it with them. 30 seconds, and we're going to come back to Conway Christian on Conway Corp.
You're watching Conway Corp, Channel 5 and 585. Conway's source for local community programming. Here you'll find the Wampus Cats, Conway City Council, here and there featuring local events. Burn and breathe that will get your heart rate up and down. Find new adventures on Away for a Day or grab your sketch pad and draw with Mr. Foy's easel. Plus, learn more about Conway Corp store. We're creating original programming with Conway in mind on Conway Corp, Channel 5 and 585.
Lady Eagles gather around Coach Trey Lynch as they try to mount that comeback that you were talking about. Just about 90 seconds to play in the game, and the Lady Eagles trail by 9, 51-42.
Trying to find a stat here. It doesn't seem believable, but the Lady Bulldogs have only had 1 free throw attempt this entire second half. And they still have been able to extend this lead out.
Wow.
They were 7
guess
of
that's
10
right.
in the first half, and they're now 8 of 11.
Free throws upcoming for Emily Brigler. Second personal foul called on Brady Calloway. And Brigler, who makes 2 out of every 3 free throws that she attempts, will go to the line here. Williams gets the long rebound. Cannot get the layup to fall. Going back the other way. (51-42). Loose ball. Kordsmeyer gets out of the pressure that was right there at midcourt. Foul will be called on Calloway. That'll be her 3rd. Mary Kate Kane will check back in.
I think the biggest difference you've seen tonight as opposed to the last matchup between these two teams is Williams, the freshman, 15 points, but just not a lot of help from the supporting players. You got 10 from Vaught, but she's been stuck on that 10 for almost a whole quarter.
Yeah.
And then 4 points for Keithley, and then 3 apiece for Dather, Callaway, and Kane. Dather averaging 12 points.
10-point lead, final minute of the game. Dather with the offensive rebound. Outlet to Brigler. So St. Joseph's going to get the win tonight, and they will repay what Conway Christian did to them a month ago back at their place. You know, that just fuels a rivalry even more when you get to this point of the season. You've won on each other's court, likely to be double-digit margins of victory on each other's court. But as we've talked about back in the start of the first quarter, there is a likelihood they will see each other again.
Oh, yeah.
And could see each other another couple of times.
Exactly.
Before the season is over. Those games will be played on neutral courts, but the familiarity will definitely be there for two teams that have shown that they can go toe-to-toe. 12 seconds to play. It's Kaylin Hill. She'll find Mooney. To Maggie Mooney. Everybody's still playing hard down to the final few moments, and that's going to be it. Final score tonight, 54-42. The 12-point advantage goes to St. Joseph and the Lady Bulldogs.
Yep, 3 players in double figures for the Lady Bulldogs, led by Kordsmeyer with 19, Savannah Mooney with 14, and Hill with 13. 2 Lady Eagles in double figures tonight, Williams, the freshman, with 15, and Vaught with 10.
So with the victory, St. Joseph improves to 16-10 overall. They are now 7-6 in conference play. And Conway Christian with the loss falls to 12-11 and 8-4. And the moment that is very special here, and my apologies for speaking over as that it was happening really before I realized it was going on. A moment of prayer that happens at center court as the two teams gather around the center circle and lock arms and pray at the end of the game. Again, the final score, St. Joseph 54, Conway Christian 42. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have the starting lineup and the tip of the boys game. It's coming up on Conway Corp. Welcome back to Conway Christian. Jeff and Levi with you. And tonight, it is a very special presentation of Conway Corp Sports. Conway Christian and St. Joe's battling each other. Just had the girls' game. It was a victory for St. Joseph in that game. And in tonight's game between the Conway Christian boys and the St. Joseph Bulldogs, the starter is going to be introduced here. First for St. Joseph, Ryan Davis. Starts for the Bulldogs. There's John McKenna also in the starting lineup tonight. Caleb Hegel starts, senior guard. Luke Bruick starts. Brent Bruick is the head coach of St. Joseph. And now the starters for the Eagles. Hayden Meeks, sophomore guard. Jeremiah Brock is junior guard. There's Brooks White, senior forward. Jake DeBusk, senior guard. And then Hudson Baker, he's their leading scorer, averaging 14.4 points a game and 10 rebounds a game, averaging a double-double. Much like the girls, of course, the boys played each other a little over a month ago, and it was a win for St. Joseph over Conway Christian. That night it was a 20-point win for the Bulldogs, 43-23. St. Joseph comes into the game 17-8 overall. They're 8-4 in conference play. Conway Christian has struggled. They're 3-15 overall, but 2-9 in conference play, but playing host to their rivals, St. Joseph. In the rivalry games, you never know what's going to happen. So we'll see if Conway Christian can find a way to get a win tonight over a team that they lost to by 20 just about a month ago. Drive to the basket, no good. John McKenna with the rebound. The big guy brings it up. That's McKenna, wears 33. Baseline jumper, back of the rim, no good. Rebound tracked down by Meeks.
It's been a rough season for Conway Christian.
Yeah, they have struggled.
But that's the thing about rivalry games. You just throw all that out.
That's right. That's a sportscasting 101 cliche that you have to use in rivalry games. But there's a reason that you have to use it, because it's true. I was looking over the game story from when these two teams played a month ago, and St. Joseph's defense was ridiculous in that game. They won the game 43-23, so a 20-point win, but they held the Eagles to only 2 points in the fourth quarter.
Wow.
A 20-point lead and still playing defense at a level to hold them to only 2 points.
When I was doing my super secret research with Ricky Kordsmeyer today.
Oh, yes.
You know, he talked about this St. Joseph team. They like to slow the pace down, run a lot of half-court sets, and which typically leads to lower scoring games overall, but he did mention how low scoring it was for Conway Christian last time. So I said, oh, it's kind of like when you play Catholic. Kind of the same.
And did he get that?
He didn't really get that, but
because he watches our broadcast of Conway games.
He does.
Three-pointer, bottom of the net. That's Luke Pope. I believe it's Pope. It's spelled P-O-P-E, but the public address announcer introduced him as Luke Pop, and I didn't know if that was just an error on his part or if there really is something wrong on my sheet, but we will maybe you can check with Ricky Kordsmeyer, make sure that is the last name for sure. Three-pointer no good. And it's 3-0 in favor of St. Joseph, and you can see they will be very deliberate on both ends of the court. Conway Christian taking their time as Jake DeBusk brings it up. We talked a lot about the depth issues that both of these teams played with during the girls' game. Well, it is very much a part of the story for the boys' team, as there are only 2 players on the bench for Conway Christian.
And there's a lot more on the bench for St. Joe's, but they really only go about 6 or 7 deep themselves.
That's it, yeah. That's Brewitt. St. Joseph 17-8 overall, 8-4 in conference play. They're just a game out of first. There was a large noise that just happened.
We're right below this little crow's nest. I think that the hatch
that fell
crashed down. Yeah.
Well,
would be my guess.
It sounded like that. Everyone in front of us turned and looked,
and they're looking at us,
right?
Like
we
we're the ones that aren't usually here.
Right.
We promise it wasn't us.
We took the Gibson's seat earlier, so.
Oh, we're hearing that it was the Spirit Stick.
Ah, Spirit Stick. So nothing fell.
Well, the Spirit fell.
Oh, the Spirit Stick fell. Okay.
All right, 3-0. Just about the halfway point of this first quarter. Baseline little jumper won't go. Rebound. Pulled down by Hegel.
What a pass.
Basket is up and in. Good look and the bucket. Foul will be called on Brooks White. That is his first and the first team foul. And at the line, the aforementioned, it looks like Luke Pope.
I'm efforting.
Shot is up and good. And it is a 6-0 lead for St. Joseph. With a timeout on the court, we will take it with the teams. 30 seconds, and we're back on Conway Court.
You don't wake up thinking about internet speed, electricity, reliability. Your mind isn't on advanced treatment facilities or customizable systems. You don't have to think about any of these things because we do. Conway Corp, always on.
6-0, the visitors from St. Joseph have the early lead. Whistle and foul that will be called on Caleb Hegel. That's his first. Whistle and foul. They will get Luke Bruick for it. We had him as number 32 in our roster, but wearing number 14.
Yeah, that's what Stats was just informing me. Stats, he picks up on those things.
Well, he's done this a long time.
You don't get much by him.
Nor should you try to.
Sometimes you might sneak past that we had a game, but once you get past that part, he does not miss anything else.
And another timeout taken by Trey Lynch. Taking this timeout to talk to his team. 3.5 to play in the first quarter. We'll keep it here. If you're just joining us for the start of the boys game, again, what we're doing tonight, it's a special presentation of Conway Corp Sports. 19 years we've done Conway High football games and basketball games, boys and girls. And we've been looking for opportunities to do more Conway sports and did the 9th grade blue-white game a few months back, and excited tonight to have the opportunity to do this rivalry game between the crosstown rivals Conway Christian and St. Joseph. That's Jeremiah Brock to Baker.
The level of the rivalry is a little different. A little push off there.
DeBusk.
Between both the boys and the girls, because the competition has been a little more even throughout the years. Hasn't really been the same case on the boys' side, as St. Joseph has really owned most of the success in this rivalry.
Tipped up against the support above the backboard. Going back the other way. Some full court pressure applied by St. Joseph. Nice job by Hudson Baker to break the press. Left-handed shot won't go. And the rebound brought down by Bruick. Hegel off the glass, won't go. Caleb Hegel had a lane, couldn't get the shot to fall.
Brooks White pulled down that rebound, didn't even look like he got off the floor.
6-2, the Bulldogs on top.
Now, neither of us have very great vision, but it doesn't take super eyes to see the size difference between these two teams. St. Joseph definitely with the advantage there.
Can't get 2 tries at it to go. Good job by DeBusk, working hard, but couldn't get the basket. Bruick. That's McKenna on the left wing.
Pope rattles around, tipped back up and in. It was Jeremiah Brock who was the last person to touch it. He didn't mean for it to go in. He plays for the other team. Corner three. Too strong. Follow. Good job by Brooks White, the senior. He led the Eagles in scoring when these two teams played a month ago. He had 8. Good triple team right on the block. Defense is a very, very big part of both of these teams' repertoire. In the lane, going to be a foul called on the floor. They'll get Bruick for it. That is going to be his second. McKenna. Entry pass to Davis. 10-4. Bulldogs on top. Down the lane, White with the follow. He will go to the line.
This game tonight a little more important for St. Joseph than Conway Christian in terms of the way the standings work out. Now Conway Christian, they're near the bottom of the standings, 2-9 in conference play. But St. Joe, 8-4, a game, kind of like a half game behind Quitman at 8-3, and half a game ahead of Pangburn, who's 8-5. So this game and then another game Friday could be the difference between potentially a 2 seed or the 4 seed. And if you lose tonight and then lose on Friday, I guess it's even possible you could drop down to the 5 seed as you're getting ready to head into district play.
And as we talked about with the girls' game, the chances are again likely they could see each other, especially in that early part of the tournament.
And the way district works, you know, if you have one of those top seeds, the way I've been told, and some of the districts do it differently. It's not as uniform as you might think it would be. But some of those top seeds, they get enough of a bye that you really only have to win 1 game to move on to regionals.
Oh, wow.
It's a very different setup than we're used to in the 6A.
Well, and again, they play just so many games throughout the course of the entire season. Foul called on Hudson Baker. Free throw good by Luke Pope. You know, another thing I've seen a lot tonight, and I love that shot. Maggie is our sideline camera operator tonight. We've got a Lantra up here next to us. But I've seen more smiles. I love it. I've just seen a lot of these kids at the free throw line with smiles on their faces. Good to see. All right, we're through 1 quarter. It is 12-6. The Bulldogs have the advantage. We'll take a break here and come back in 30 seconds on Conway Corp.
You're watching Conway Corp Channel 5 and 585, Conway's source for local community programming. Here you'll find the Wampus Cats, Conway City Council, here and there featuring local events, Burn and Breathe that will get your heart rate up and down. Find new adventures on Away for a Day or grab your sketch pad and draw with Mr. Foy's easel. Plus, learn more about Conway Corp Store. We're creating original programming with Conway in mind on Conway Corp Channel 5 and 585.
All right, so what you see there, this would be one of those times I wish I had like one of the telestrators. I'd draw a big circle around that stick. That spirit stick is what you heard earlier, or maybe you didn't hear it, but everybody here heard it.
We heard it. Javon heard it.
Yeah, she jumped, rightfully so.
And then everybody looked at us and said, that wily Conway Corp coming in here and making a mess of everything.
With their spirit sticks. All right, we've played 1 quarter. 12-6 is our score. The Bulldogs have the advantage. McKenna can't get it to go. Davis Good job defensively. It was Jake DeBusk that stepped in front of it, but instead of foul called.
Scoring breakdown in the first quarter. Pope with 8 and Davis with 4. That is your St. Joseph scoring breakdown.
Yeah, not
two
a
players.
lot.
And then you had 2 players for Conway Christian, White with 4 and DeBusk with 2.
That was a great dish from Davis. John McKenna unable to finish. 12-6.
Davis is our 501 basketball team honoree for St. Joseph Bulldogs.
It was a week ago that St. Joseph hosted their career fair, and I had quite a few of our employees from Conway Corp from different areas of our company that were there talking about different careers at our company, and I got to shake hands with and say hello to a number of the players for St. Joseph at that event, including both Gage Kordsmeyer, who's in the game, number 50. Talked to Ryan Davis as well.
Well, Gage is the son of the infamous Ricky Kordsmeyer, who we've mentioned a number of times tonight.
And who is apparently got his phone on silent.
He's got that slack. He snoozed his notifications.
Oh,
so that's
what
happened.
is.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's all play, no work right now, watching his son play. I get it.
Well, we're just going to go with P-O-P-E as Pope, and that the public address announcer just misspoke.
I think it's a good pronunciation to go with for a Catholic high school.
I could not agree with you more. It did seem like that would definitely be how you'd say that word.
And I'll confirm at halftime.
Okay, good. Yeah, confirm it. Because I was thinking this is one of those times that if we were live, we would already know.
Oh, yeah. Someone would have told us by now.
Tipped up and in. And I believe, was that again, Brock?
It kind of looked like
that's
that
heartbreaking.
Again, yeah. That's tough.
Twice tonight. Ball's tipped up and in by Conway Christian.
Just battling for those rebounds.
That's right. Working hard for anything they can get. 14-6, St. Joseph on top. That's Brock. They'll run that little 3-man weave across the top. Try to find somebody asleep. We've seen this for years with Catholic high school. That's the offense that they've run for decades and ran it all the way to a state championship a few years back. Errant pass.
What's so interesting about St. Joseph is they're one of those teams that can really impose their style, and the opposing team ends up kind of playing similarly, even if they don't mean to, kind of lull you into a different rhythm.
Elliott Gainey in the game. Misses the three-pointer from the corner. Kordsmeyer, soft. Got it to go. Big man showing some good moves and good hands.
And I always appreciate a player who wears glasses.
Me too.
You know?
Yes.
Gives me confidence.
Stolen away, but a whistle and a foul going to be called on Pope. Caleb Hegel and John McKenna check in. Hudson Baker, Hayden Meeks, Brooks White, Jake DeBusk, Elliott Gainey.
St. Joseph been comfortable in this 2-3 zone all night. Conway Christian just hasn't been able to get enough shots to fall.
Hudson Baker's left-handed shot won't fall. Kordsmeyer with the rebound. Jake DeBusk going for the steal. Shot won't fall. Hegel fights for it. Foul is going to be called on Jake DeBusk, and I believe that's going to be his third.
Gotta love
and
that.
It is.
Pesky energy from Eagle there. He can't get the layup to go in and comes from behind, picks the pocket.
It's a 7th team foul, so Caleb will go to the line. Caleb Hegel, the senior.
Just 6 points in a quarter and a half for Conway Christian.
(18-6). Off the fingertips of Hayden Meeks. And it will be St. Joseph basketball. John McKenna thought about the three. Dribbled to the top of the key instead. Bruick. That's Hegel.
Talked about this style of offense, and every possession just becomes so much more valuable for the opposing team.
Yeah, your number of possessions gets cut tremendously when you play a team like this.
And then when you're struggling to shoot as you have been, as we've seen from Conway Christian, it just makes it that much more difficult to try and climb back into it.
Brooks White for three. Good looking shot. Rolled off the rim. Bruick. Hegel with the drive. 20-6. Gonna have to look for some shots, trailing by 14. 2.5 to play in the first half. Three-pointer. DeBusk, back of the rim, no good. Had a good look at it. Hegel. Dribbles to the elbow and knocks it down.
He has been lights out in this first half.
Ball is kicked into the hands of St. Joseph. Pope. 24-6. Got it over the timeline. That's Gainey. White. Good ball movement by the Eagles. Boy, that just sums it up for the night. Can't get shots to fall. Good ball movement, found an open shot. Just couldn't get it to drop. Hegel for three. John McKenna battling for the rebound. Jump ball. Going to go the other end. Hunter Watkins checks in as well as Ryan Davis. Talked about this Bulldog squad, even though they've got a few more players on the bench. You mentioned it earlier, Levi, they just don't go very deep. Gainey. To Baker. DeBusk. Good strong move to the basket, couldn't finish. Loose ball, the Bulldogs come away with it. Ball knocked away, it's gonna go the other direction for Conway Christian. Well, I'll say this for Coach Trey Lynch and his Eagles. There's been no quit in them. They're continuing to fight hard. Deep into the season. Not a deep bench. Rivalry game. effort is still there, though. And that says a lot about the character of a coach and the team.
Mark Oliver got to do the boys features for both Jake DeBusk and Ryan Davis, and I was really impressed with Jake, and just he talked a lot about at that point a month ago they hadn't even won a game yet. They've won 2 games since then, but just talking about how much it was about finishing strong and, you know, trying to get something going. Things haven't gone our way, but they haven't quit, and you're definitely seeing that effort still here in the first half, and would expect to see it continue in the second half as they try and climb back into this game.
Turnover on the travel. 6 seconds to go here. They have a chance to put some more points on the board. See what they can find in these final few seconds. That's DeBusk. Gainey for 3. Well, that was a good looking shot. Couldn't get it to fall. St. Joseph will take the halftime lead, 24-8. We'll take a break here. When we come back, we'll have the third quarter for you on Conway Corp. And as we come back for the start of the third quarter, a whistle and a foul early on. Free throws right off the bat here for Ryan Davis. First one is good. (25-8), all Bulldogs so far.
Jeffrey, it was a rough first half for Conway Christian. Really no way to paint around it. 8 points, just 2 points in that second quarter. They're shooting 14% tonight.
And they've had some good looks, but yeah, you're right, just shots not falling.
0 for 7 from the three-point line. 2 for 2 shooting free throws, so maybe they can find a way to get to the free throw line more. That might help them slowly take down that lead little by little. There's obviously a lot of time, whole second half to play, but your possessions are very limited against this St. Joseph team.
Well, and unfortunately, their style also limits them.
Yes.
Because they really don't get into the offense very quickly. Good look at a three-pointer, but another one won't go. It's similar to a team that just runs the ball in football. They get down by 2 or 3 scores, and they just don't have enough opportunities to get back into it. And so it will be interesting to see if Trey Lynch, head coach for Conway Christian, does change up their offensive philosophy just a little bit to see if they can look for some quicker shots. John McKenna gets the basket. First 2 of the night for the senior, John McKenna. Comes from a great family. Known them for a very long time. Good to see John, the senior, on the court, getting his first 2. 27-8. The Bulldogs on top big. Eagles trying to fight back into this one. Had a good crowd on hand tonight and some unbelievable hospitality from the folks here at Conway Christian. And we would have said that even if we didn't judge the chili cook-off. But that certainly helped.
Did we talk about the winners?
I don't know that we did. It was number 4.
Which I don't remember. I could figure this out because I wrote all the names down in sequential order.
Oh, okay,
so let me.
You were judging the best name.
Yes.
And I was judging it by taste.
So number 4 was Chili-icious.
That's right, Chili-icious. And the man that made the Chili-icious chili, which isn't easy to say, he said to me, what was it? What made it so good? And I said, in my notes, I wrote down meaty goodness. So I don't know. Those were the 2 words that came to mind were meaty goodness. And so that was enough. It was delicious.
Well, you know, you never know what you're going to get with chili. It did have a lot of meat in it. Sometimes you have a little less meat to bean ratio, but this one was kind of perfect.
I liked it. It was meaty goodness.
It was meatalicious.
And what did the winner of the naming contest?
I really appreciated Chili Chili Bang Bang.
That was funny.
But I ended up going with it's chili today, but it's hot tamale.
Hot tamale. I like it. That was fun. It's a fundraiser that they do. They do it every year when Conway Christian plays host to St. Joseph, and they raise some money, and folks are able to come here.
Yeah, one thing you may not think of with these private schools, but the way they raise funds for athletics is
Yeah.
a little bit different than maybe the way it works at the public schools. So things like the chili cook-off really make a big difference.
Davis working hard. Can't get it to go. Bulldogs hold on to it. Pope for 3. 13 points now for the sophomore, Luke Pope. And it's 30-8. We are seeing some quicker possessions here. That was a quick 3 by Hudson Baker, front of the rim, no good, but for them to have a chance to get back into this, you're going to have to shoot the ball quickly.
When they got into that offensive set much faster, you mentioned kind of the pace of getting their offense set up.
Whistle and a foul. Free throws upcoming for Caleb Hegel. Foul was on Jeremiah Brock, his first.
Well, we are almost exactly at the midway point of this third quarter. Still just 8 points for Conway Christian. Haven't scored yet here in the third.
31-8. Whistle and a foul. They'll go Caleb Hegel for it. Officials working together. That was nice. The official closer to the scorers table said, I got this. I know which one you called it on. It was on 23. Out of bounds play to try to get an open look. Baker off the glass. Can't get it to fall.
He just really, we can be more partial on this broadcast. Our normal Conway broadcast, we're obviously pulling for Conway.
That's right.
We're pulling
kind of
for
pulling
both
for
teams
both teams,
tonight.
right?
But I'm really starting to feel every time they put a shot up, I just want it to go in.
Yeah. Now you know that the effort is there. The numbers aren't very deep right now. It's a team that, and you've got small classes. Just so many young men and young women that are in the high school. How many of them play basketball or play sports of any kind? So you do have to deal with some of that. Ryan Davis, a good move along the baseline, gets the shot to fall. And it's 33-8, 3 minutes to play in the third quarter. Brock. Off the glass, no good. It's Jake DeBusk trying to get it to fall. Brock with the steal. That's DeBusk down the lane, gets it to White.
What's really interesting to me is just the difference in the rhythm to this Conway Christian offense from what we saw with the Lady Eagles. And the reason I say that is it's the same coach.
Yes.
So he's obviously tailoring the offense to his resources on the floor.
Right. Bruick knocks down the three-pointer. Luke Bruick, the junior. And it's a 36-8 lead. St. Joseph up big. That's White. To DeBusk. Blocked by Caleb Hegel.
Wow.
He'll stay on this end.
Has been feisty all night, and give a lot of credit to St. Joseph. They have not let their foot off the pedal at all.
No look pass out to the top of the key. Hudson Baker. Try a little give and go. In fact, come back out to Jake DeBusk instead. Brock. Can't find an open look. Three-pointer by Brock. No good. Hustles in and gets his own rebound.
Loose ball. It was Pope that got his hand on it. Conway Christian trying to make something happen. Front of the rim, no good. The rebound cleaned up by Gage Kordsmeyer.
We did confirm at halftime that it is Pope.
Oh, yes, Pope.
I was told it's Pope like the county. I'm like, I appreciate that.
That is, yeah.
Used to have family that lived in Pope County,
Pope
so
County?
I appreciate that reference.
The 38-10, by the way. Basket there for the Eagles.
First 2 points of the quarter.
It is. Three-point attempt, no good. Steal. Hegel steps in front of the pass. Look at Jeremiah Brock for it. That is his second. And Hegel at the line.
Some important free throws here that could get them to the 30-point mark.
That's right. Hunter Watkins and Ryan Davis check in. Of course, a 30-point lead in the fourth quarter means that the clock will run according to the Arkansas Athletic Association's sportsmanship rule, the mercy rule, if you will.
St. Joseph has gotten out of that 2-3 zone they played in most of the first half.
Little Euro step down the lane, can't get it to fall.
Gage Kordsmeyer with getting his hand on the ball. Interesting inbound style here.
Jake DeBusk will throw it in. Finds Brooks White. Final 10 seconds, steal by St. Joseph. Final 2 seconds. Pope for three. St. Joseph leads 40-10 as we go to the fourth quarter. We'll take 30 seconds and come back on Conway Corp.
Education is all about vision. It requires commitment, investment. So we pour ourselves into Conway students and teachers, schools, and scholarships. A brighter future? Now that's powerful. Conway Corp. Always on.
And we welcome you back to Conway Christian. It's Jeff and Levi with you tonight. Special presentation of Conway Corp Sports, and it's 40-10 as the visiting team, St. Joseph, from across town, is leading as we go to the fourth quarter.
3.3 miles away,
Okay.
to be precise. I know
So it's
that
like a 5K.
because Mark Oliver, in his stories he wrote on the boys players that were on our 501 team, he mentioned that in one of his stories.
Okay.
It's a 3.3 mile drive from Conway Christian to St. Joseph.
I like it.
Well, it's a rough 3 quarters for Conway Christian,
Yeah.
shooting just 13% from the field. Still not able to get a 3-pointer to drop 0 for 10. And they're 2 for 2 from the free throw line, but that's exactly where they were in the first half. So they've been unable to get to the free throw line here in the second half.
DeBusk down the lane, can't get it to fall. One of the things we haven't talked about is the difference in the amount of games. We talked about it in the girls' game, how they're both into the upper 20s. They'll be at the 30-game mark by the time they get to the district and the regionals coming up soon. And that's not the case with these two boys' teams. Now for St. Joseph, they're at 25 games. They'll play their 26th game tonight. But only 18 games played tonight, number 19 for Conway Christian. And of course, the reason for that is because of football.
And, you know, we see that sometimes with the bigger schools, too.
That's
Conway High School didn't start until think it was December this year
Yes.
because of football and because of low numbers for Conway High as well.
Zach Tucker checks into the game, and Logan Kennedy is also in. So, yeah, that's definitely something that we see it, like you said, we see it at the bigger schools, but there's a transition that takes place to get players, and I admittedly don't know how many of these players played football also, but I would assume there had to be some of them at least, just based on the size of the school. I'm sure a lot of your athletes probably do play multiple sports. Kordsmeyer, the kick out to Watkins.
I think the thing that's stood out the most to me, and of course we haven't seen it as much with this Conway Christian Eagles team, but that girls game earlier and the play that we've seen from these Bulldogs, there's some great basketball happening in the city of Conway.
Without question.
And it's not all just happening at Conway High.
No, that's right. Kennedy can't get it to go. Jacob Williams is in the game, number 3, and he will go to the free throw line.
This Bulldogs team fell in the second round of regionals a year ago. Won it all 2 times in their history, 2009 and 1986, so pretty big spread between those years. But you got to imagine some of these dads and in the stands were maybe a part of that 86
Could
team.
very well been, right.
Some of these older brothers a part of that 2009 team.
That's right. Brooks White for 3, front of the rim, no good. Inside, Kennedy. It's Logan Kennedy, the senior, off the bench. His first 2, it's 47-10.
He's got some size out there.
He does. And you feel for Conway Christian. Been a tough night, just trying to get any points on the board. Scored 6 in the first quarter, then only 2 in each of the second and third. Brock in the lane, right hand goes. 47-12. Jeremiah Brock scores there.
And like you said, it hasn't been for a lack of effort, and they've had some great shots, just have not been falling tonight.
Up and good by Jacob Williams. 49-12. White to Gainey. The steal. That's Jacob Williams. All the way to the basket. Williams, the sophomore off the bench, showing some spark.
Flashing that speed there.
Yep. Whistle and a foul. It'll be on the floor. Called on Zach Tucker. So no free throws.
You can see the frustration on the bench for this Conway Christian team. It's not how you wanted it to go against your crosstown rival.
That's right. Whistle and a foul. No, they certainly were looking for a bigger effort tonight. It's been a tough year. Jeremiah Brock at the free throw line.
What's so interesting to me, though, is unlike the way it is in the 6A, everybody goes to district. And all you got to do is finish in the top 4 to go to regional.
That's right.
So, as bad.
It's kind of a reset for everybody.
As bad as the season has been, you just never know. Maybe you catch some lightning in a bottle next week and make some things happen.
Final 2 minutes. Gage Kordsmeyer. Junior turns and scores. Brock. Jeremiah Brock.
He's had 4 points here in the fourth quarter.
Tucker in the corner to Kordsmeyer. Rebound goes out of bounds.
I know you said it throughout the broadcast, but I just want to take the opportunity to say it now. All the coaches tonight, how helpful they've been to us these past few weeks in getting ready and preparing for these games. You mentioned Coach Kramer, the AD here at Conway Christian, so helpful tonight, and it's made it all a really fun experience for us.
Coach Lynch and Coach Bruick, Coach Kaylin Hill. I sent an email a couple of weeks ago when we realized we could broadcast this game, and checked with them, made sure that everything was where we could do it, and even needing things like logos and lineups and anything. Yeah. There's a three-pointer knocked down, good-looking shot, Peyton Meeks. But even just asking for logos, having those sent to us so we could build the things that we built for tonight. And it has been a fun night for us. Unfortunately, a tough night for the Conway Christian teams as St. Joseph comes in and gets the victory in both games. In the boys' game, the final score will be 55-19. With the win, St. Joseph improves to 18-8 overall. They are 9-4 in conference play, and Conway Christian falls to 3-16, and they are 2-10 in conference play.
Bulldogs were led by Pope with 13 points, Hegel with 9 points and 7 rebounds, and Davis with 7. Brock led the Eagles with 6 points, followed closely by Baker and White with 4 apiece.
Moment here at midcourt where the teams will gather for a moment of prayer. It is a rivalry and it is a tough night for one of the teams, but still, at the end of the night, the perspective of what's important and what's important to these two schools and their communities, as it were, within the community of Conway. And it was a good night for us to be involved in. And again, as you were mentioning, just thank you to everybody that helped make tonight possible. Again, the final score 55-19 in the boys' game, and in the girls' game, the final score is 54-42. St. Joseph getting both of the victories tonight. For Ryan Tucker and for our entire Conway Corp sports crew, for Levi, I'm Jeff. And again, thank you for watching. Thank you to Justin Kramer and the entire staff here at Conway Christian for their hospitality, and for the folks at St. Joseph and all that they did. I hope that we get to do this again. And maybe next time, if the schedule works out right, we can do this game over at St. Joseph, get to bring you the excitement of a game there and that type of environment just across the street, basically, from all of us there at Conway Corp. Thank you for watching tonight. We appreciate you very much, and we'll see you next time on Conway Corp.